Welcome to part 5 of my beginner's guide to Elden Ring, where we will progress through the game in a somewhat logical order so that you can get better at the game rather than just overpowered. This guide is geared towards beginners, but if you're a vet, feel free to stay and watch and you may learn something too. Let's go ahead and start at the War Master Shack in Limgrave. Now that we've conquered the Weeping Peninsula, you are ready to finish up Limgrave. Once at the shack, rest until nightfall. Use all your buffs before entering the shack, and once you do enter, you will be invaded by a bell-bearing hunter. No summons allowed, this is 1v1. This is probably going to be one of the harder boss fights you've encountered up to this point. The moveset is kind of basic, it will get more complicated as you find more in the future. Focus on dodging, and it should only take about a dozen tries or so. If you are finding this boss a little too challenging, feel free to leave and come back later. Their reward really isn't that great. I hate fighting this guy, and there's a good chance you will too. Once defeated, you will receive the Bone Peddler's Bell Bearing, which is useless until you get to the Round Table Hold and sells a few crafting materials. So no big deal if you skip it. After you're done with that, or you decide to not do it, head to the Stormhill Shack side of Grace and head around the western side of the path and further south until you come to another Everjail. Use all your buffs before entering and you will face your first Crucible Knight. Again, no summons. His moveset is a little bit more complex than the Bell-Bearing Hunter, and he has a little bit more health, so you take it or leave it. But I feel like he's a little less aggressive and you have more time to heal between attacks. Once defeated, you will receive the Crucible Tail Incantation. This can be a decent early game move to clear out mobs of enemies. There is one more dungeon in Limgrave, but I think it's more appropriate to go finish Stormvale first. Starting at the Stormhill Shack side of Grace and following the path forward, you will find the front gate heavily guarded. Rest of the side of Grace to remove that enemy aggro. Before exiting the tunnel, there is a summon sign on the ground. You can use it to summon Rajier to assist you in the battle, although doing so will increase the boss's health. With this battle, you can use Margit's Shackle twice to lock him in place for a few seconds. If you didn't pick the Shackle up from patches, you may want to make a side trip if Margit is giving you trouble. It should also be noted that if you get Margit below half health, the Shackle will no longer work at all, so use both binds before that. A lot of his attacks are slightly delayed and will punish you for rolling too early. This will likely take you several tries, but be patient and you will get it in no time. Once defeated, you will receive a talisman pouch, so be sure to equip your second favorite talisman for your build. For a very detailed walkthrough of Stormvale Castle, check out my other video on YouTube. Instead, I'm going to take this opportunity to show you the quickest way through. Walk through the door and talk to Gestalk and have him open the gate. Sprint up the path, dodging the many enemies and arrows. You will come to a courtyard, sprint past all the enemies here as well, and make your way to the back left-hand corner. Inside, you will find the left side chamber side of Grace. Activate it quick and reset the aggro of the enemies. From this side of Grace, you can follow the route to the east past the giant to find the boss chamber. This is an aggressive route, and I honestly encourage you to explore Stormvale on your own by following Gestalk's advice and walking around the western side of the castle, but I'm going to leave you to explore that on your own. I'll meet you back at the left side chamber side of Grace when you're ready to continue. Before fighting the boss, there are a couple things I think you should do. First, back at the left side chamber side of Grace, exit out towards the courtyard and hug the wall to your right hand side. Parkour down and follow the obvious route forward. Once you come to a ledge, use all of your buffs and jump down. Once you walk a little ways forward, an ulcerated tree spirit will appear. This is a reoccurring boss, and this is the weakest one. So, figure out a sporadic moveset, and hopefully the ones in the future will be a little bit easier. At about half health, its moveset will change, indicated by an explosion of holy light. Once defeated, you will receive a golden sleeve. Now head back to the left side chamber side of Grace, and head down the path towards the giant. Instead of turning, you should notice an Erdtree sapling with another golden seed. Just before that, there is also a door. Go inside and speak to the NPC. This is not necessary for her questline, but it will allow you to summon her to face the boss if you decide you need a little extra help. Just remember that summoning help, even an NPC, will increase the boss's health. I'm going to choose not to summon her for this fight, as the extra health just doesn't make it worth it to me. Once through the boss fog, you can use the summon fairly quickly. I'm choosing to use the jellyfish, as it is very bulky, and the poison damage can be very helpful in this fight. Halfway through, you will have a phase change where Godric will cut off his hand and replace it with a dragon head, starting the second phase with a flame breath attack. Similar to Margit the Fell Omen, a lot of his attacks are slightly delayed, so try to wait about a half beat before dodging. This is a very difficult fight, so be patient and focus on learning the timing to dodge the attacks. Only about 57% of people who play this game ever defeats this boss, so congratulations, you're better than a lot of the people if you made it to this point. Once defeated, you will receive his Great Rune and his Remembrance. We need to activate his Great Rune for it to be useful, and we'll get to that in a few moments. For now, continue forward through the doors and follow the route forward. When you get to the point where you need to jump off the ledge, turn around to pick up a Shibiri Grape. This is a key item needed to complete a quest of one of the NPCs. Once you go outside, you will find the lake-facing cliffs side of Grace. Just after it, you should notice a young maiden, Hyetta. Talk to her and give her the grape we just got. She'll thank you, and that's all we can do with her for now. Rest of the side of Grace, and Melina will take you to the Round Table Hold if you haven't been there already. Talk to all of the NPCs here to start their quest lines. Brother Corrin and Dee will sell you some basic incantations. Go back and forth talking to Master Hugh and Roderica, and when you run out of dialogue, rest of the side of Grace, and when you come back, Roderica will be in the same hallway as Hugh as a spirit tuner, and you can now level up your spirit summons so they do more damage and have more health. Hugh is also your blacksmith and can level your weapons up to plus 25 or plus 10 depending on the type of weapon, as long as you have the necessary materials. In the back room is Fia. Let her hold you to start her quest. This is also going to give you a slight health debuff, and to alleviate it, you need to go into your inventory and use Baldachin's Blessing. There's going to be a mirror in the corner. You can use this to change your appearance and name whenever you want. In the upper room, you can find the two fingers and finger reader Enya. You can trade your remembrance into Enya for either Godric's axe or his dragon arm, but hold off on that for now. I'm going to show you a way to duplicate the remembrances so you can get both of them if you want. Back to the main room, heading out to the balcony of Rogier. He will sell you a variety of magic-based ashes of war, and he'll give you his rapier. If you jump off the balcony, you'll be invaded, and you can take a few moments to receive a new emote. Once defeated, you receive the Taunter's Tongue, which allows your world to be invaded even if you're playing solo. I wouldn't worry about this for now, but you do you. Explore a back room down here, and you will find the Cypher Peta, a fist weapon which deals pure holy damage. It can be fun to use if you like fist weapons, but I didn't use it too much in my playthroughs. Down another hall, you will find a silent skeleton that will give you an emote, and further down the hall, you will find the Twin Husk Maidens, which will be your main merchants. You can take any bell bearings you acquire to them, and to increase the items they sell. You can also kill any merchants throughout the lands between to get their bell bearings and bring them here, essentially giving you a one-stop shop. Once you're done talking to all the NPCs in the Round Table Hold, warp back to the lake-facing cliffs in Liurnia. You should see Bok, talk to him, and he'll offer to alter your clothing for free. This just changes the look and slightly changes the stats, so it's not really something you need to worry about, but you do you. After you're done playing, dress up Barbie Elden Bling Edition, head to the southwest to find the Church of Irith. In here, you will find a sacred tear and the NPC Thoughts. He will sell you some basic sorceries after you donate to him. You will need to do this to progress his quest, which does give quite a few rewards, so don't kill him. And honestly, if you didn't realize already, don't kill any of the NPCs unless they're not talking to you. I think all of them have questlines associated with them. Now, we're not done just yet. There is one final dungeon in Limgrave we need to conquer. Make sure you have 2 Stonesword keys and a bow with arrows, then warp to the stranded graveyard side of Grace. This is the first dungeon you see, but thankfully FromSoft locks you behind 2 keys, so you shouldn't accidentally torture yourself with it early game. The first room has a poison floor, but you can just run straight through and it shouldn't proc. The next room has a deadly chariot that will stalk you throughout the hallways. Then there are also phantom soldiers that spawn in the little corridors to punish you for hiding. I have a detailed walkthrough for this dungeon on my page, so I'm just going to give you the highlights here. After dodging your way past the chariot, you'll come to a second hallway with a little bridge. Jump down on the right-hand side, taking close to the wall, and this is going to drop you into a hallway full of imps. Continuing forward, you'll come to a big room with a bridge and an item on the opposite side. The item is the Erdtree's Favor, which increases HP, stamina, and equip load. But beware, it is a trap. 2 grafted scions will drop down and pincer attack you, but it's well worth it to grab the item. It is very good early game, and even if you end up dying, you'll want to make your way back to this room. On the side of the room where you entered, drop down and you will land on a ledge, then drop down again and you'll land on the bottom of the floor. Follow the path forward and it will take you up a lift with a Phantom Banished Knight and a Stonesword key item. Before you jump down, you may notice the chariot still racing around below. Walk to the side and look up to see some hanging pots. If you can time an arrow just right, it will drop down and destroy the chariot. Once destroyed, you will automatically receive the Erdtree Graybow, and the chariot will no longer respawn. With the chariot destroyed, you are now free to roam the dungeon at your leisure. As I mentioned, I do have a full guide posted, so we're going to jump to the boss for now. The boss is another ulcerated tree spirit. This one is slightly stronger than the one you faced in Stormvale Castle, and the attack pattern is the same. Remember, at half health, it will have an exposure to holy damage. As long as you can avoid this huge burst damage and dodge erratic attacks, you should be fine. Once defeated, you'll receive another golden seed and the Banished Knight Oleg Spirit Ashes. Bear with me for a moment longer, we are almost done. You may remember that great rune we picked up earlier, now it's time to go activate it. Starting at the Stormvale main gate side of Grace, we will need to rush through the main gate, still dodging all the enemies and arrows from before, and about halfway up you can cut to the right side to find a door. Don't stop running, there is a lion guardian guarding the door, but once you enter it will no longer follow you. On the other side of the Side of Grace, continue straight forward across the bridge and several golems will awaken and try to stop you. But push forward, you got this. At the end of the bridge is a way gate, and when you interact with it, it'll teleport you to the other side. Climb the tower, and at the top you will see the Great Rune between the two fingers. Interact with it to restore it. Rest of the Side of Grace to set it as your active one, and now use a Rune Arc to activate it. This will conclude part 5 of my guide. If you found this video useful, leave a like, comment and follow for more Elden Ring content. Good luck, and GG everyone.